Good morning, everybody. David and Goliath, or David versus Goliath, part 2. I'm sure you've been waiting up all night to listen to the next exciting episode of David versus Goliath. Goliath was a monster. He was 9 feet high. That's over 2.7 meters. I mean, Rassi Erasmus would loved Goliath to have locked down with old Ibn Etzebeth in the scrum. Imagine a line out with Goliath at number 2 or at number 5. I mean, he wouldn't even have to jump. He'd just put his hand up and everybody else would have said it's not fair. Well, the way that Goliath is described is really quite frightening. I mean, he has every piece of armory. And who is he up against? He's up against a lighty, as we would say, a lighty, in the form of David, who has one or two things working to his advantage, does David. First of all, he has a faith in a living God. Important. Don't forget that. Don't try and face the giants of your life and who come against you without a faith in a living God. Not just a belief that there is a God, but a God who loves you, who has his hand upon you, that has work for you to do and wants you to take your life forward. David may have been a lighty, but he wasn't lightweight. Believe me, he had a faith in a living God. And then also, he knew what he had in his hand by way of his weaponry. I mean, he had a sling. Come on, a sling. You would have thought against Goliath with all those spears and all that other stuff. Yeah, but he knew how to work a sling. God had given him a skill. God had given him a skill. In the way the world thinks, it may not have looked a terribly good skill because armory against a sling and a few stones wasn't going to make much of an impression. But David believed that what he had in his hand was going to work, and he was good at it. He'd practiced. He was so good at the use of a sling. Remember when God said to Moses, I want you to go to Pharaoh and say to Pharaoh, let my people go. My people being the children of Israel. They were being oppressed. They were slaves in Egypt. And Moses says, I can't do it. Do you know who we're talking about here? We're talking about Pharaoh, the most powerful man on the earth. I can't do it. What is more? I've got nothing. And what did God say to Moses? Moses, what have you got in your hand? Well, I've got a staff. He says, well, use it. And it was that staff that Moses used in the presence of Pharaoh and in the presence of this giant Goliath. All that David has, not all that he has, because you would think, well, all that he has, like it's nothing. Well, he has a living faith, and he has an ability to use the skills that God has given and to use them well. God has given you something. Don't put yourself down. Don't say, I can't do, this is too much for me. No, that's not the story of David and Goliath. It's the story of, Lord, I believe you, I trust you, and whatever you have given me in my hand, I'm going to use for your honor and praise. Don't forget to do that. Okay? God be with you.